Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time to continue predicting the Oscars with the tech categories and, or just below the line, whatever you want to call it. This will be the first time we were talking about these so far this season. It's a nice time to talk about it because we know what summer films are happening. We have trailers for most of the summer movies, and we've already seen a couple of summer movies like Furiosa. And Dune, obviously, we've seen Dune, so we know some films that will be contending. I have a game for you that we're going to play as we go through this, and it's going to be called What If Dune Doesn't Win? I mean, maybe Dune wins 5 Oscars again, or 6, but maybe it wins 2. I think that they may be looking for alternates just to not repeat. Right now, it seems like in a lot of these tech categories, people are defaulting to Dune 2, which makes a lot of sense. Sure. But, think something like how Zone of Interest won Best Sound last year, unexpectedly over Oppenheimer. That stuff could happen because when something starts to sweep, they start to look out for, okay, well, is anything else appealing to us in terms of its narrative? And you can follow along. You can have your award expert app out. You can just be making updates as you go. I am working on the history feature next, which will be released pretty soon. So you can go back and you can say, oh, was I right in June? Who wouldn't want to know if they were right in June? All right, cinematography. I actually do want to keep Dune Part 2 at number 1 in this category because I think it stood up the first one. It just seems very hard to beat. I mean, maybe something comes along, but it's hard because a lot of times the cinematography category we've seen is tied to bigger movies. Even visual effects are somewhat of a tie. What movie that's yet to come out is going to be like a bigger scope than Dune Part 2 that's in the awards race? Probably nothing is the answer. I think Joker is for sure gonna get in there. People were already coming their pants for the trailer, and it looks very colorful. If Joker's in Best Picture, it would be hard to imagine it not getting cinematography. And Blitz, that would make sense. Steve McQueen, his films are showy. 12 Years a Slave somehow didn't get nominated, which was insane. I think we should consider that Blitz is not necessarily a lock, even if it's in Best Picture. I understand that. I'm okay with admitting that. One thing I want to look out for, I don't know how high up this is on your list, but I wonder if a narrative could take hold for the cinematography of Here, because that movie has to be shot in a very interesting way. And I don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe the way they shoot it feels like they kind of kept the camera invisible. The camera is very much observing, in which case I wouldn't say it's a big cinematography contender. I think we have to talk about it here as, would it get nominated if it's actually shot from that one perspective? Does that make it more or less likely? No. I don't know. I'm not ready to put it in. I'll just say that. Flashy. Think about The Walk. Yeah, The Walk had a lot of dynamic. The Walk wasn't even if The Walk got nominated for Best Picture, it wouldn't have gotten cinematography. It wasn't. Maybe it would have. No. But Here is totally different. Here is totally different. I know, that's fine. We can't really about recent work of his. I want to consider Queer for the top 5. Because, interesting. I didn't even think about that. Oh, absolutely. Because Luca's films have quite stunning cinematography. Challengers was maybe his most stunning, I think. And yet, even if Challengers was in Best Picture, I don't know that it would get cinematography because it's not trying to be beautiful. That's the thing. Yeah, and the Oscars, they want you to have pretty pictures. But the cinematographer is very established. Well, yeah, but he didn't even get nominated for Calling by Your Name. Didn't even get nominated for Calling by Your Name. But Queer, I think it could have a very moody sense of atmosphere. Yeah. And however they paint this Mexico City period thing. I actually don't necessarily disagree with you. We could see. We could wait and see. Because we can go through the other options. I'm not that convinced by any of them. Now, what are those options? Now, I actually will say I want Maria in. Okay? This is Edward Lockman. Edward Lockman just got nominated for El Conde. He's been nominated for Far From Heaven. And he got nominated for Carol. Now, Pablo Larraín's films look excellent. Spencer didn't get nominated, unfortunately. Jackie didn't get nominated, unfortunately, even though they look so good. But those films didn't have Oscar-nominated cinematographers. And you know what I found out after El Conde got nominated? Is that cinematographers knew about some crazy shit that he actually did with that film in terms of inventing some type of thing with the camera that I wish I had more specific information on, but apparently that happened, and I think they knew about it. That's why ASC and the Oscars went for it. I think they're invested in the people. I also think we should consider Anora. Now, you've seen Anora, you tell me. I think the Florida Project should have been nominated for cinematography. Red Rocket is Drew Daniels who's doing this film. Yeah, I think Anora is his
best looking film, perhaps.
Really?
You might even agree, even though you love the cinematography in those other ones. I would love to see a cinematography nomination for Drew Daniels for Anora. I love the look of Anora. It's also not quite a movie that's trying to be beautiful, but the shooting style was just great for what it was. There's a lot of master shots where like the slapstick is playing out. A lot of wide angles, very wide, where the ends of the images are warped. And there's some moments that are, I would say, like a little bit flashy with the cinematography. Like it's doing something that, you know, makes you think about it. But overall, I don't think it's a typical cinematography nominee. So I'm not sure whether to put that in. I would do it because I really respect what Drew Daniels does, and I think he has a unique vision. And I love his work with Trey Edward Schultz's movies.
There's also Nosferatu, which a lot of people seem to believe in. Now, I know The Lighthouse got nominated, but let's say it all together. I think you know the answer to this one, guys. Why did The Lighthouse get nominated? Because it was
black and white and 4:3.
Thanks, everybody.
The couple images from Nosferatu look like they could have been ripped from The Northman. That's my opinion.
Although I think it will have more like expressionistic things going on.
It's The Northman, but more expressionistic, more shadows, because obviously you have to do that.
I don't think that Nosferatu is trying to look like an old movie from the images that have been released.
If it did try to look like a 30s movie, I would say it's getting nominated.
So I don't have that in.
That's number 4 in the Award Expert app, and it's behind Blitz, Joker, and Dune.
Furiosa is the number 5 in your app. Absolutely disagree. No chance.
No, I think people are going to take it.
Literally no chance. Although it makes sense to say that the movie will get makeup, visual effects, and sound at least. I think somehow it's going to only get 2 nominations. And it doesn't have to do with like the movie itself. It has to do with just being what happens to these like bigger blockbuster films that may be technically well done, but are not embraced in above the line categories by the Academy.
The categories that we're considering it for are already film categories where you don't need to be Best Picture to get in.
Conclave is the cinematographer of Jackie, by the way. We know that All Quiet won cinematography.
Yeah.
Now that's
Conclave
because
is going to be a very good-looking, well-crafted movie overall.
It's fair to think it could get nominated, but I think being a war film, like, there's just something about it that allows for a lot of expression, and I think this movie may be like very dynamically made.
Well, All Quiet had a lot of outdoor photography.
Yeah,
I mean, that thing kind of looked like The Revenant. This film is going to look, it's more interiors and it's more contemporary.
I don't see as much going on.
Yeah.
But it could happen. It's definitely like up there. I also think that The Girl with the Needle is worth considering.
I wouldn't quite go there, but I would say it's possible. It has a unique style. It's probably not the most appealing film for a wide audience, but you know, the fact that El Conde got nominated and that didn't even...
It's kind of like Ida, isn't it?
It's kind of like Ida, but Ida won Best International Feature. There are more distinct framing choices in Ida that I think made it stand out. What needs to happen for this movie to get nominated is there needs to be an ambiguous number 5 slot.
ASC has to do it.
And ASC has to do it. That's a path that it has. It's a very like high contrast, shadowy film, and the use of shadow is very well done. There are some really interesting compositional choices. I'm not going to rule that out. There's Gladiator 2. That could happen.
The look of his films lately is too fucking great.
Napoleon actually did have good cinematography. Emilia Perez we can consider for cinematography.
Really?
If it gets nominated, it could get in. I love if Challengers could get nominated. I really don't think it would. Sing Sing is probably not going to get nominated. No. That would be really weird.
Yeah, I think we're good. Editing, Dune Part 2, you know, here's another one where it's like, what can we have as an alternate? Because actually, I mean, recent years, sound editing have not been tied together as tightly as you know, the decade that precedes them. But we do think Dune 2 is winning sound, and that's pretty fucking like, I'm not going to move it from sound for now.
You may have thought I was a little bit of a dunce for going and saying that Here could be a cinematography contender, but I really think if Here has a narrative for any craft, it would be editing.
Absolutely the fuck not, asshole.
Huh?
You literally told me that Here might be shot purely like... Okay, the one description that we have of someone who's seen it said that it was from the corner of the room with fade-ins and fade-outs.
Well, we don't know if that's true.
The fact that it takes place in one room...
Also, what if the fades are, like, interesting fades?
If they're doing the thing that they do in the graphic novel where they have panels, like, overlaying and showing different time periods, then I fully agree with you that it will get nominated.
Well, wow.
But I don't know that they're doing that.
Yeah, you don't know. That's what I'm saying.
They might do it.
We don't know. Here has to do something interesting with the editing because it's stitching together eons.
You're scaring that.
Come back, sweetie.
Sweetie.
Hey, it's okay. You stay here.
We're gonna make you happy.
You're part of the family. We're cutting back and forth between the present day, the future, and the distant past. And, I don't know, when the dinosaurs were around.
If you really think about it, it's just a ghost story. That's what
I just really think that here, if here's in Best Picture, buddy, I think it's going to get editing.
But I think you agree with the other movies that I have in here.
Okay, so Sing Sing, we agree that's going to get a nomination.
Now, why do we think this? It's not just because we think it's going to win Best Picture. It's also because there's a lot of montage in the film.
Yeah, it just would. Editing is very much a best. What are the best films? What are the films we like the most this year?
Yeah, and I think the editing branch, they like the films with the heart. They like the holdovers. Like, they just will do it. I think Conclave's a big editing contender because if that's a great movie, then it's.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of thing going on.
Probably very good pacing, probably an entertaining movie. The word is that it's somewhere between like an action film and an art house film. So I think it could have some very snappy editing and be fast paced.
What about Blitz? Because Blitz makes a lot of sense.
Blitz makes a lot of sense.
Because it's a wartime film and possibly has moments that feel like a thriller. Even I agree with you that it's a drama overall. Like, it's very... about...
But McQueen is a director who really thinks about editing as well in his work. So Blitz will be a very well-made movie. Have you ever considered that Blitz is maybe not below an 80 on Metacritic movie?
In that Blitz gets into Best Picture, but it's not in the top 5, and then it's just missing in a couple of categories. I understand that.
And then that would include editing, even if the editing was worthy.
I understand.
I think I'm going to be stubborn, and for me personally, on a personal level, I think I'm going to keep Here in. Here is a weird bet overall, because I totally feel more confident that Blitz is going to get nominated for Best Picture than Here.
We both have the seat of the sacred fig in.
Yes, because it becomes a thriller in the end.
But that's part of it. The other part is that they use archival footage.
Oh yeah, they use cell phone footage of the actual protests in Iran right now.
Yeah, Civil War did that. It's like a domestic thriller in some parts, the way that like a Separation or Ferrari movie is, and then in the end, it's an actual thriller allegedly.
Weirdly, I think I'm gonna keep it in my top for editing.
It could be. Yeah, I'll keep it at 5.
And they went for Anatomy of a Fall this year.
They did.
It was a surprise for many people.
Did.
So
I think it's weird that The Tree of Life and The Zone of Interest didn't get nominated for editing. Like, how did they, how did they not nominate The Tree of Life?
I don't know.
Now, you know what a lot of people are doing that I'm seeing is putting a Nora in editing. And it's not that I don't think it couldn't happen.
That's an interesting
But I want to be a little bit skeptical of, now that Nora's getting in, Sean Baker's getting nominated for 4 Oscars because he edited his own movie. Now, I will remind you of this. Roma didn't get editing nominated. Okay? Perron won for Gravity, though. He also edited it with somebody
reason
else.
Roma wasn't nominated for editing is because it was a long take movie.
Doesn't Anora have a lot of long takes?
No.
Is it a fast editing movie?
It's not particularly showy.
The Wolf of Wall Street not getting nominated for editing is interesting, and I think that was because of the complaint that the film was too long, which is kind of being...
It'll be levied against Anora as well.
I'm not convinced that the branch will care that much that Sean Baker's editing his own movie, and if anything, maybe they think, well, he's not like an editor in the way that other people who are not their own directors are.
Look, it only matters if they love Anora and they think it's a top 5 movie. That's all that matters. That's the only reason Anora would get in. It's not because, we can get Sean Baker yet another nomination for this movie. I can easily see Anora getting nominated without editing, and I don't know if Anora's a top 5 movie yet. For me, it's in the top 5 right now because I've seen it, and it got a great reception at Cannes and won the Palme d'Or. It's easier for me to imagine that if Blitz is in Best Picture, that's going to get editing, than Anora being in Best Picture, and that's gets editing. Joker 2 could get editing, that's fine. I think maybe they'll chill a little bit on it, I guess. I don't know. Joker Fever, that happened the first time, I don't think it's going to get 11. It was funny the Academy Awards had Joker Fever, though.
It's funny that that the director's branch had Joker Fever.
Do you think that that's just it's implausible that was a fluke and that people just still have it?
No, I think people do still have it. I think when the trailer came out and everybody thought that the last shot of the trailer was the greatest moment in cinematic history, that it showed that people do think that they do have Joker Fever. I don't disagree that Joker is definitely one of the bigger editing contenders, and I'll put it at number 6 for this reason. I also think Challengers will be in the conversation. I think Challengers is going to be on that BAFTA shortlist for editing. I think it'll be close. I think even without Best Picture, there is a case for it because it's so...
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
A movie that plays with pacing and timelines, and it gives you that disorienting whiplash in that final scene.
However, I think just due to not being in Best Picture, it's not going to happen. They're too married to Best Picture in this category. They do it like
when was the last time they
once
nominated
Tick
a
Tick
film?
Boom.
It's stunning how little it happens. It really is.
We all know it.
But maybe Challengers is Baby Driver.
But
No, it needs sound. It needs sound for that. I'm so sorry.
Challengers
for
can't get
suggesting
sound.
that.
Yeah.
It's not going to get sound.
I think the Nickel Boys is possible. You know, if something, I don't know. It's, I guess, it's just so unknown. Juror number 2, just being a drama thriller type of courtroom thing. I'll throw that in there as a possibility. I could just throw in everything on my Best Picture list.
Right.
But I'm just going to keep it kind of short.
Yeah.
Furiosa. I know Mad Max 1 editing. I don't care. It's absolutely.
It's going to be treated so differently.
The fuck not happening.
It's going to be treated
it's
so
different. It's so different. I have it so low.
I'm sorry to the fans. It's a good movie.
Oh, what about Emilia Perez?
Yeah, Emilia Perez is in there somewhere. That's the scary thing about Emilia Perez is if you really wanted to, you could find 10 nominations for that movie.
In production design, I want to say that there's an opportunity for Dune Part 2 to not win, but I'm having a hard time seeing it. Once again, this is like the biggest scale film that we're getting in the Best Picture category. I guess Joker is kind of big, and we'll have musical numbers.
This is where here is compelling.
No, it's not.
Why?
Because it's one room.
It's
the father.
It's one room, but
it's one fucking room, and it becomes like a few different locations. It's
many locations.
And Dune.
Yeah. Hey, it's the father.
That didn't win.
Yeah, but it got nominated.
I'm not putting it at number 1.
Fine.
I have here in for production design.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I do actually. Right. Yeah, thanks.
Because I'm just starting with the winning question, and I'm going, okay, what could possibly rival Dune? Well, here could be interesting with crafts. That's all I'm saying here. That's why I keep bringing it up. But we don't know if here is good. So, it's a huge question mark. I can't take Dune out. I can't take it out for any of these.
Blitz, I have. That seems kind of default. I also have Gladiator 2. And a lot of the reason I have this is because of what Napoleon did. I don't know how else to say it. Gladiator 2 is going to be massive.
Yeah.
It's going to be big Coliseum, big budget, 100 million.
Gladiator 2, very reasonable.
Nosferatu is kind of interesting because some people think that this is one of the categories where Nosferatu can pop up and be a thing. I agree that it'll probably have worthy production design. I just think it won't happen. I just think that it is not going to be treated like even the tragedy of Macbeth.
Should we look at how often films get nominated for production design without Best Picture?
Oh, it's like one or two a year.
There's a chance for those big production Disney films to get in here, like Wicked. That's possible. And it can also happen for sci-fis or westerns that are outside Best Picture.
I guess Furiosa then doesn't look impossible, but I don't think it'll happen.
That's true. Furiosa doesn't look impossible. See, it's easy for me to come up with a top 5 here, but then 6 and below, I'm like, what do I do?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because Conclave is not really a period thing. If they rebuilt like a lot of the Vatican City, then maybe that's possible.
Even the 2 popes, didn't they rebuild the fucking church or something?
Yeah, but again,
something crazy
because that was contemporary. They didn't pay attention.
There's Maria, but even Jackie was snubbed for production design, so that's hard to say.
Yeah, that'd be if it was in Best Picture, probably.
The end is in the style of a 60s musical. I think the production design is going to be very interesting in the end. Maybe Nosferatu has the best chance here. Maybe. Because that's a period
I have it at
film.
number 6, actually.
You do?
Yeah, and then Furiosa at 7, because I think that just makes
you
more
Furiosa
sense.
at 7? I feel like I'm just betting against Furiosa at this point.
Let's go to costumes. Now, Dune could maybe win costumes where it didn't win costumes the first time. And that actually might be kind of compelling for people to want to do it.
Yeah, I think the costumes in Dune Part 2 were more striking, and I saw a lot of people saying the same thing.
My alternate options are not that compelling either.
All we have, it's like the same text. It's like Dune, Joker, Blitz.
I remember Joker, people didn't even think that was going to happen. But I think this one is going to happen even more because it's not just the Joker, it's like Lady Gaga, and she's going to wear a lot of costumes as well. Gladiator 2, that makes a lot of sense. That's like the most sense.
Sure does.
I think Maria is kind of compelling. Let me tell you that Maria takes place...
would have gotten nominated if you didn't hate it so much.
Spencer takes place in the 90s. That's nothing. This film takes place in like the 60s or 70s or something. And who's the costume designer, you asked? They're nominated for Cyrano and Pinocchio. Those are pretty clutch because the films were very far from Best Picture and it still happened. And then I do have Wicked Part 1. I did put Wicked in because the second trailer did show me that there's a whole lot of costumes. And maybe in the same way that Cruella won and beat Dune, this movie could do the same. I will throw that out there, though, that maybe that is the flashiest costume film.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll put Wicked even
I think
higher.
Blitz is the number 5 because we don't really know how flashy Blitz is.
No, I think we know exactly what Blitz is, and I can give you a bunch of examples, my friend. Was Bridge of Spies nominated for costumes?
No,
Was The Imitation Game nominated for costumes?
it was not.
Was All Quiet on the Western Front nominated for costumes?
It was not.
Was 1917?
So you're saying that period war films get excluded from costumes?
There you go. World War II films
right.
don't get costumes
All right, fine.
very often.
Yeah, because Blitz feels like it's in too many
I mean,
categories.
interestingly, Allied did, even though that was like a low nomination. So you never know what's going to happen. I don't think Here's going to happen. I don't think Conclave's going to happen for Robes. So I'm really kind of struggling as to what else. I guess Furiosa's a contender.
See, Furiosa could get in here too.
Yeah, I know, but I can also very much justify having it right on the
You're
outside.
gonna put in Maria?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I could put Maria at number 5, yeah.
All right, fine.
The guy's been nominated twice before, and it's a 70s thing, and Angelina Jolie's playing like a person who's
Okay.
going to wear a lot of costumes. Makeup and hair. This is a category where I do not have Dune at number 1. I have Beetlejuice.
Me too.
Is looking at all the same shit that won the
too.
first film. Makeup. When I watched the trailer, I was like, oh, buddy. Everybody in the movie has crazy makeup on.
The first one won makeup and was only nominated for makeup, so that's what we're predicting.
It has a lot of
Only gets
classic.
makeup
It has a
and
lot
then
of
wins makeup.
classic effects in there as well. Dune will be nominated though. Make no mistake. Joker will be nominated. That's like super easy. You have Furiosa, which if that makes the shortlist, I think it'll get nominated. But I think there's a chance it misses the shortlist like Barbie did. Chris Hemsworth, he got a new nose. There's dirt on everybody's face. There's oil on everybody's face. There's white shit on all the white people's faces. It's actually quite a lot. It's so much that I have to have it in.
Yeah, I think Furiosa is pretty solid for makeup still.
A Different Man, I think, is quite possible. Don't you think so? And A Different Man, they are putting that movie in the fall. So it's actually coming out, like, at the right time.
I guess so, but it's really only for one thing.
That hasn't stopped Gold
And the one
or
thing-
Jackass Bad Grandpa.
And the one thing is in the first half.
It also hasn't stopped Tilda Swinton from winning the Grand Budapest Hotel makeup, even though she...
No, that had more than just her, I think.
Oh, but we know why it won.
Yes. Yes.
We know why it was ultimately nominated. If you transform an actor with prosthetics, that's enough to get it in. I don't know what else you have in that's that very specific type of thing that the Oscars like, which is transforming an actor with prosthetics.
Well, here's where you can definitely argue The Apprentice.
Also-
it's not the level of prosthetics that you know, Golda had, for example, but, you know, with Sebastian Stan, they give him the hair, the kind of corny haircut, they take away his jawline.
I know what it
and
is.
he transforms slightly over the course of the film.
I know what it is. It's being the Ricardos and Spencer. That's what I
It
think.
might just be that.
That's what I think.
It's probably, like, again, The Apprentice is too weird to bet on right now, so we can't say that.
Maria is another film that, you know, I think she's going to have a lot of makeup on. Maybe more in like a Ma Rainey way where it's not prosthetics, but it's just a lot of makeup or whatever. But, you know, this year there's a lot of makeup contenders and there's stuff that has like bigger things.
I'm
going
actually
on.
really excited about makeup because we can agree that on the top 4, you know, Joker and Furiosa included, but there's a lot that's below my number 5. Here's one I really want to consider. Probably not going to happen, but I would fucking love if The Substance got nominated for makeup. I would absolutely love it. It would represent a resurgence in the interest in body horror. The film goes so fucking hard. It would be like The Fly getting a makeup nomination. But when you look at the history of makeup nominations in horror films, usually you gotta be vampire or werewolf. The Fly was an exception. That is like the only body horror nomination I can think of, and if I'm incorrect, and you can find more, then you can comment that.
Everyone on film Twitter is going to champion this to happen all year. And then you know what's going to happen? The Critics' Choice are going to fumble the ball.
Well, they don't have to do it.
I know, but that's what's, honestly, it's probably just going to get overlooked. Like, if it got on the short list, and, you know, something else gets snubbed, you can go nuts. Like
I need this nomination. Like, I need it.
I'm-
And you're
I'm
going to need it
excited.
too. When you see The Substance, you're going to need it.
I know I'm going to need it. I know everyone's going to need it. You know, do we always get what we need?
No, but also, let me be very clear. There hasn't been this level of body horror in a long time, and so it could have a narrative behind it.
Do the main characters' faces transform throughout the film with prosthetics?
Yeah.
Well, then maybe it can happen, man. That's what they want to see.
Yeah.
And The Fly, the reason that got in is because it affected his face.
Yes.
Now,
No, it actually could-
Crimes
it's
of the
actually
Future,
real.
Crimes
It
of the
could-
Future got shortlisted, but it was just, they put an ear here and there, whatever. Like, it wasn't the same thing.
If that got shortlisted, this is going to get shortlisted.
Fair.
Now, hold up here. I don't know what's going to happen with it. Like, it also has to do well at the box office, I think, and it has to be a sensation.
No. Golda got nominated, man.
Fair enough.
No, the makeup
you're
branch
right.
doesn't really care if anyone's seen your movie. The French Pinocchio got nominated for makeup.
Look, I'll say this. There are seldom films that go this hard on makeup, so I really wonder if it could just happen.
You're kind of convincing me because they put prosthetics on people's faces. And they
Like, if I'm a
transform.
voter, if I'm putting myself in the shoes of a voter, am I just not going to watch the movie? Because if I watch it, I'm going to go, wow, yeah. And yeah, sure, it's not transforming Meryl Streep into the Iron Lady or putting Brendan Fraser in 600-pound makeup. It's not exactly realistic. But, my goodness, it certainly is stunning work.
So for me, it's that or A Different Man. And I do want to say that
Yeah.
Wonder got nominated for makeup in 3 slots. So they're kind of addicted to that sort of thing. So I'm going to keep A Different Man in just because I think the substance... I think it's more than wishful thinking. I think it's very worth considering for real. But I think it's also wise to say, hey, look, we've been disappointed before. We're probably going to be disappointed again.
Also, I want to consider Night Bitch because
Yeah.
we don't know what's going to happen to Amy Adams.
I agree.
Except that she's going to transform into a dog. We don't know how it's going to happen, but
I agree.
certainly there's going to be makeup.
Speaking of animals.
Certainly there's going to be creature makeup.
Speaking of animals, Sasquatch Sunset.
Sasquatch Sunset.
If you've
I
seen
have
it,
that
you
in my list.
understand. When we watched this
Okay.
movie, in the opening 5 minutes, he leaned over and I was like, I know.
Yeah,
I know what he was going to
yeah.
say. The makeup is quite stunning. It's quite
Yeah.
stunning how the actors are able to move under it, and
Yeah.
they're just gone. They're absolutely gone.
Yeah.
Under there. Bleecker Street carried Golda to a nomination last year, so
Oh, yeah.
this kind of thing is not impossible. It
Yeah.
really is not impossible.
You might think, okay, Sasquatch Sunset, like, it's not going to do well at the box office. It's going to feel like
Well, it
the
already
movie
didn't.
doesn't exist. Yeah,
It already
it
doesn't.
already came and went. We didn't even realize. It's going to feel like the movie doesn't exist, but the second it pops up on that short list, you bet your ass people start thinking about it. It's all about whether it makes the short list, and this could easily make it. Also, Sasquatch Sunset is full body.
What's going to happen in Nosferatu? I don't know if it's going to be, like, insane. It'll probably be interesting enough. But it's not like Pennywise got nominated.
Wicked for makeup.
Being green isn't a big deal. Let's go to visual effects. Dune's winning.
That's not disputed.
The number 2 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, though. As were all the other Apes films, they were all number 2. It's one of those movies that's nearly like 100% visual effects.
Yes.
Mufasa is also like 100% visual effects. That's easily getting nominated, and it's also another one that I won't hear it any other way. I mean, I know the Lion King original film kind of didn't age well and people don't look back on it fondly, but like when it comes to the visual effects, I mean, this movie looks like it's absolutely like top-notch, flawless in terms of the environments, the design of the animals.
The main difference is it's making their eyes bigger and they're a little bit more cartoonish.
You got flies flying all over Mufasa's face. Like it's the level of details there. And
That'll be
they
done.
love the Disney stuff, by the way. And then we have Furiosa, and Furiosa's not higher because Furiosa is not actually higher. This is potentially a snub, if I dare say so. There is discourse about whether or not it had too much CGI in parts. It were more noticeable than the first one at parts. Almost
Sure.
every review I've seen of the film says that in some parts the CGI isn't the best, or it took them out a little bit.
I'm sure there are just as many parts where the CGI is seamless and we don't even notice it.
Oh, we could have said that about Black Panther 1. But the discourse around that and the CGI was so heavy that it actually prevented the film not getting out, despite being a fucking best picture. I don't know if Furiosa necessarily seems to have upped the game or does something so groundbreaking.
I'll give it to you that Furiosa might not get visual effects.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
It's less likely than sound and makeup to me.
Now, Gladiator 2,
That I think is going to get
it's
visual effects.
again, it is because of Napoleon. Let's be honest here. It's partly because of that.
Because the equation is Gladiator 2 is greater than or equal to Napoleon.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's great. Yeah.
The other thing is that they
gotta
are
go with
fighting animals.
Tigers,
Tigers, sharks. Apparently, this is
a
happening.
monkey rips someone's face off.
When
That's
you have
visual
animals, like think about Napoleon plus animals.
There's 3 monkey movies this year. There's 3 monkey VFX movies.
Yeah, Godzilla v Kong. That one's not
Well,
happening.
that's 4. That's 4.
Oh, wait, what's 3?
Because Gladiator has monkeys in it.
That's 2. That and
Mufasa has monkeys in it.
Oh, true. Mufasa monkeys.
Yeah, this is 4 movies if you count Godzilla.
Twisters.
That's a thing.
I will say
Twister
this.
was nominated for the original Twister was
that's
nominated
fine.
for sound.
Oh, things have changed.
and visual effects.
Things have changed. Can I tell you
What
that-
has changed?
Oh, I
What?
watched the trailer and I thought that looks fine.
No,
The
it's
visual
a
effects look
disaster
okay.
film.
And how
Well, I
often do
guess
those
you're
get
right.
nominated?
Yeah, all right.
It just looks like a gray blob to me.
I kind of
Looks a
disagree. I
little
think,
bit like a
I think
gray
it looks
blob.
pretty top notch.
It's a little bit like a gray blob.
I think it kind of looks top notch.
It's a little bit of a gray blob.
That's because the sky and weather is a gray blob.
Yeah, but it's not. But it doesn't have to be.
It
They just
wasn't.
don't-
They showed the tornado ripping up a fucking factory.
I think it'll get shortlisted. Let me put it that way. Like,
Yeah.
to be clear, I think it's one of the bigger contenders. Now, I think here is also a contender, but here is going to be
Here?
a little bit of a
I
controversial
don't
talking
know.
point.
Is here? Oh, right, because of the AI.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
here is doing de-aging, and they're doing it where they're actually de-aging the actors as they film during production, apparently. Live AIing the face. Live deep faking. Now, some people will be upset with this because they have a very binary stance, and every single AI tool equals AI dystopia. I think we need to be a little bit more nuanced about this. We already have so many tools in visual effects artists' tool belts, in musicians' tool belts that use technology in ways that are like technically you could have paid somebody to do this.
Yeah, like in music, you can play a choir with your keyboard, or you can play strings, and people don't complain about, oh my god, you didn't hire a whole fucking orchestra for that, because it sounds good enough, and hiring an orchestra is a huge ordeal. And yes, they're not paying people who could have been paid otherwise, but like, there's not an endless supply of money for every film. In fact, most films are even the big budget ones are tight budget wise, because the movie business is very difficult.
saying that you could have paid somebody to do something, but you're using a tool that is more advanced, that doesn't require as much labor, and therefore it's unethical, is a very weird argument.
If an artist uses this tool to like do their art, then I think it's fine.
And people who designed the tool are reaping those benefits.
Also,
too.
if the AI is used to generate like the best deep faking that there is, I'd rather have that than whatever fucking crazy labor went into making The Irishman, which was apparently a nightmare of trying to make.
Yeah,
it
and
look
people weren't
realistic.
even that happy with that, the result of that.
If the result is we're going down the visual effects route to de-age the actors, like I'm not going to complain that they use AI for that.
Nonetheless, though, I think that A, there will be discourse about it, but B, more importantly probably, is that the visual effects artists might not care as much because it was done with AI. They might say, well, that's not really what we do.
Well, here's what they could do to amend the discourse a little bit and to make it a little better is show how VFX artists are using the AI tools.
They can show how the tool was built. I don't know if the tool was actually custom built for the movie. That's also possible. Or they
possible.
they sought out a team that was already developing this tool. I don't know what else you want to have here. I don't really have that many other things. Like, I think Godzilla's probably not even getting... I mean, maybe it'll get shortlisted. Megalopolis is impossible, right?
Megalopolis is gone. The visual effects aren't good.
I don't really know about Joker. Like, I don't know, the first one didn't, but this one has bigger budgets. But again, filling in the backgrounds and stuff, like, we keep learning every year that it's not enough. Even Society of the Snow, like, they generated all the mountains and the plane crash, but like, it didn't get to that level that they think is like super duper impressive, I guess. I think A Quiet Place is worth having on somewhere, maybe. It does look like there's more going on in terms of visual effects.
Yeah, and unexpected things can happen with like the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah. Wicked, I don't think so. I really don't think so. It's
No.
just, no.
Why would that happen?
I don't know, because it has a lot of fucking green screen, I guess. Score, Dune Part 2. I think that they will look for something else, actually, to win.
Yeah.
I'm not
I don't
exactly
think it's
sure
gonna
what
win.
it is going to be yet, though. I don't quite think Joker will do it. I actually think Joker might be weaker because it's using so many, jukebox things. It's not relying on the score the way the first one did. Conclave, this is, once again, the guy who did All Quiet. So I do think that Conclave will probably get nominated. I'm sure they'll use a ticking clock in it or something. Sing Sing, I think that this will be the first Desner nomination. During a lot of those montages that we mentioned when we were talking about editing, there is piano, strings, very, very pretty music in Sing Sing. I think it's quite likely to get nominated.
Yeah.
And the music branch has got to know Bryce Desner by now. And then number 5, you dragged up Queer, and I said, oh yeah.
Yep. Queers, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross. Really everybody from Challengers is being pulled over.
Challengers is interesting because if Challengers got nominated for Best Picture, I think that it could win score. I don't know. They already won twice, though.
No,
it's so exciting.
No. The score for Challengers is the same track over and over again.
No, it's not. It's like 8. There's 8 tracks. I've
not that much.
listened to it. I know
I'm
it's
glad.
not a lie. It's actually the shortest score by far.
Yeah. So people aren't
That's
going
all
to be
that matters.
obsessed with that when it comes to like the music branch.
But do you remember that All Quiet one for
yeah,
Three
but that had a
Notes?
classical score.
Whatever, the rest
So
of it
that
didn't
goes a
matter as
long
much. Sometimes
way.
only the theme, only the main thing that you
But
remember.
the theme of Challengers
and what
is
you
some
remember,
techno shit.
what you remember in Challengers is so memorable, it sticks out, man. I
It's too
don't
much.
even
It's
think
like hitting you over
Challengers
the
is
head.
dead for score. I don't think it's dead for score. I think it really got people talking about it. I think people will be listening to it all year.
This is where I'm going to be you from last time and say that you're living in a kindergarten world.
There's no kindergarten about it. They're very well respected. They've been nominated a lot. They've won 2 Oscars.
Yeah, and they'll get nominated for Queer.
I agree.
instead.
I don't have Challengers in. I'm just telling you that.
No,
it
but
could
that just
stay in
it
the
wouldn't even
conversation.
happen.
It'll probably get shortlisted.
The Critics' Choice might do it, and that's because they're the Critics' Choice, and that's all that would happen.
Yeah, that's probably true, but maybe it'll get BAFTA. I don't know.
It's unconventional.
Well, so was The Social Network. That was wildly unconventional for the
That's
time.
different, though. The fact that this is techno, like almost EDM, that makes it different.
Well, it also stands out. It also works in its favor. Queer is probably going to be more typical droney Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross score, though. Droney, chilly score.
How do you know?
That's just the vibe.
We don't know what to expect.
That's the
we don't even know
that's
what to
the
expect
vibe
from
of the
Queer.
movie.
You don't know what the vibe of the movie is.
Yeah, we do, because there's a book, and it's called Melancholic. You agree with that? It's going to be melancholic.
Maybe it'll be a crazy movie. Maybe it'll be crazy.
I don't think it's going to. But I agree with putting them in, because I think if they are scoring a film in Best Picture, that it happens.
that has the potential to win too.
I mean, I don't know about that. They've already won twice, so
So Hans Zimmer's already won twice.
he's Hans Zimmer.
Well, who else is going to win?
I don't
They're
know.
trying. Hilda Gunnadottir, could she win again? The thing is, Joker Folie à Deux is using non-original music. It's a jukebox musical for the most
I
part.
understand. That's what I agree with.
And Gunnadottir is going to integrate her music into the songs.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
So you know what's going to happen? No nomination.
what?
Yep.
That's not going to disqualify.
No.
it.
Oh. It will. They weave the songs into the score.
Us was
Us?
qualified. Yeah, us qualified.
Okay, fair enough. Us did it.
I don't think there's that many examples. It's
Anyway.
not like hiding it though. I don't know.
I think there's a chance it could get disqualified.
I think that The Room Next Door makes kind of sense. I mean, considering Parallel Mothers got nominated, like holy shit. I mean, that makes kind of sense.
Kind of sense. It makes kind of sense.
Gladiator 2, I don't want to really understand. Like, yeah, it'll be a big movie, but I don't think the score is going to be all that. Here, there's a lot of stuff we just don't know. Like, I don't know what here is. I don't know what the end is. I don't know what Blitz is. Blitz, I think, is important, because that could be a lot, but I don't know what it is. Amelia Perez, how about that? Amelia Perez
is original music, so all the music would qualify, but I still don't think it would happen.
I'm sure Maria will have a good score. I don't think we have confirmation
Yes.
on who's doing it, though.
Maria will have a great score, and then it could get snubbed.
The Nickel Boy is being done by Alex Sommers, who's done some really good modern classical stuff. Did Honey Boy. Nosferatu could be quite interesting, although I don't think that The Lighthouse and The Northman were anywhere near it, even though they had good scores.
Gladiator 2, the score is said to be very good from people who watched the clips or CinemaCon footage.
People think that scores that are really generic, that use a lot of strings, are good, though. So I don't know if I
true.
believe it. So sound, Furiosa is definitely getting nominated for sound. I think that's the one category it's most likely to get. And the sound branch, last year they actually showed that, and I think it's because they now have their own bake-off, they are getting a bigger look into films. They're not just choosing from the Best Picture anymore, because The Creator and Mission Impossible both got in. So that was kind of interesting. We had to consider that this year. Joker 1 was nominated for both sound awards, and also this
Yeah.
one's a musical, so we can have that at number
Yeah.
3 pretty safely, pretty snugly. Gladiator 2 you could put in. We said that it's Napoleon or greater. Napoleon actually got snubbed for sound. A lot of people thought it would get in. It seems pretty good. It seems pretty likely. I think Blitz is quite likely, though.
It'll be a drama with some bombs going off.
Now, what else is a drama with some bombs going off? Apparently, Conclave.
yeah,
Apparently,
it's
there's
sort
an
of an
explosion a little
in
bit,
it.
but I don't think that's enough.
Yeah.
I would keep it
Yeah.
a little lower.
What I think is going to get nominated, and I have this in my top 5, is Twisters. Because that's going to have so much sound, and like you said, the branch is willing to look outside of the Best Picture category here.
Is Twister's going to be that good?
It's going to have the most sound.
Yeah, but what happens when it gets a 59 on Metacritic?
That's pretty good, actually.
What if it gets
for
a 60?
blockbuster?
Yeah,
It's
but
pretty
to
good.
get a sound nomination, I think you need to be a little better than that, buddy.
I don't know about that. The Creator wasn't considered very good.
It actually might be
And also,
decent.
Twisters is going to be good.
Maybe we do. Have to
Twisters
trust
is Lee
Chung.
Isaac Chung.
I
And the
know,
cast is
but-
great. I'm excited to see it. It's actually one of the blockbusters I actually care about seeing.
It looks kind of good, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I just don't. I'm not like.
It's going to be
convinced that
fun.
It'll be.
It's just going to be a fun movie. And it's a movie that's going to have the most sound. You can't find many movies this year that are going to have more sound effects and more sound work than Twisters.
Can I actually support you on this in a weird argument? The composer is Benjamin Wallfish, who did The Invisible Man, Blade Runner 2049, 13 Lives. The reason that I'm going to support you is because I think that a lot of times his scores leave a nice amount of room for the sound design and work quite well with it.
This is a weird argument.
I don't think it's a weird argument because what I want to see from Twisters is that they really go hard on the sound and they don't just try to score all the time.
They will.
Score it, but strings. Because that's not what he does. That's not
They're
what
not going to do that for
does.
Twisters. The first one got nominated for an Oscar for the sound. They know what's going on.
The first one's different because it's older. It was more impressive to do tornadoes back then, probably.
It's going to happen.
I will. What do you think, Gladiator or Twisters?
Hey,
or
Twisters is going to be a great Dolby movie.
I will put Twisters above
Twisters,
Gladiator
yeah.
too.
Yeah, you can do that.
Does that sound okay with you?
That's fine.
You okay with that, buddy?
Yeah, I guess you're right. You make a good point about Blitz, for being a Best Picture movie.
Now, Civil War, a lot of people think that has a shot. I think that's on the outskirts. I think that it will be something that Branch takes note of. There's something to the craft there, I think. But ultimately, I think that movie is too early in the year, too out of their peripherals, I think, by the time that we roll around to award season. I don't think that people are still talking about Civil War. Other than that, I mean, I guess A Quiet Place could show up, but, the second one didn't get nominated. I think that's about it for sound. And those were the below-the-line predictions. We're not doing song. There's just not enough information at this point of the year. You can stay tuned for updated acting predictions. And we're also going to split international, doc, animated, and SAG Ensemble into another video, so that'll be another video for you to click on and watch. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Which crafts will you dare to bet against Dune on?